Hey, Vicky, what are you listening to?
I'm listening to Brits Guide to Disney Vacation Club.
Those guys are great.
They sure are.
This podcast is part of the After Dark Podcast Network.
Welcome to this episode of Brits Guide to Disney Vacation Club. On this episode, I have a returning guest, my old buddy from the DisLoad, Mr. AC himself, or better known as Adam Cumber. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you doing?
Welcome forward, everyone. Thank you, Kevin, for having me back on. Doing well. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. So I'm glad to be back on. It's been a long time since I've been on Brits Guide.
Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it? We said to Luke it'd been a while since he'd been on, but we've been so busy doing the DisLoad, and I've been lining up other interviews. So yeah, it's nice to have you back, Adam.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate having you give me the time to have this fun chat that we're going to go through, because it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, it may be a bit of a clickbait episode. The title, we're not debating what we're going to use for the title, but it may be explicit in its content. Although the episode won't be.
No. But you got to have a bit of fun with it while you can, haven't you? And it's worth it. So
we're going to talk about your DVC trip that you've just come back on. Obviously, you've done a trip report on Devonshire Dis with Adam. So
yes.
Go over there and listen to that absolutely fabulous episode. And of course, my highlight was Glowy Boat Ride.
Yeah, Glowy Boat Ride. Yes. Yeah, no, definitely, you guys, if you get a chance, go and listen to it on the Devonshire Dis. It was a really fun conversation. And as Kev alludes to, my children's favourite ride of the trip was Glowy Boat Ride, as they call it, which would be Narvi River Journey, but that's what a 4-year-old will call it.
I think we got some 50-year-olds calling it now, on the Isle of Wight.
Hey, I mean, it is what it is. It's a boat ride and it's glowy. So we're just stating facts.
Yeah, say what you see. Say what you see.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, so you went obviously with the girls and your partner to Disney World, and you stayed obviously DVC. So where did you stay?
So we stayed for the very first time at Saratoga Springs for the first week. Then we did our welcome home stay at the Island Towers at Disney Polynesian Resort. And then we did the final few days at Disney's Boardwalk while we were there before we came home.
Yeah, you came on and did an episode about your purchase of Polly. So if you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to that. Yeah, really chuffed with that. And I've had a little quick look. I think you've done all right with the price of DVC points now. Your Polly contract, I think, was an absolute bargain.
I think so. And also, and for those that have, listeners to the podcast who listened to that episode, you would know that I hardballed offers quite a lot until I got a deal that I wanted. And I still hold to this day that was the best decision I made. And my advice is go big, ask for low, and expect a no, and then you might get the yes.
Yeah, they're not going to hit you, are they, at the end of the day?
Exactly, yeah. So, I look at the points it's worth now versus what I bought it for, and that was, 18? Well, I covered 2 years now we've owned it, so nearly 2 years, and it's worth more than what we paid for it, thankfully, but by quite a lot, because I made sure I got a really good offer at the time.
And at the moment, DVC is at quite a low. I mean, it was up $10 or $15 more than what it is now. So, now's the time to buy. As I always say, there's no wrong time to buy.
Well, there's always I wish I bought it sooner. There's always that, isn't there? Where once you've bought in, you start, you're like, I should have bought this years ago. But you're right, there is no wrong time to buy it. It's only right for you to buy it when it works for you.
Yeah, there's buyer's remorse. I don't think is a thing. It's more the other way around. And I've been going since 94, and why I didn't buy in the 90s when it was $2 to the point, $2 to the pound, and the points were like under $100. But it is what it is, isn't it?
Hindsight's a beautiful thing, Kev. And then we can all sit here and we could have changed anything that's happened, made better decisions with things like buying DVC at earlier points. But once you have it, you're just really thankful you've got it. So,
yeah, going forward, we're all on gravy now, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're all enjoying the benefit of DVC. So, yeah, I think that's fantastic. So you went and you stayed at Polly and Saratoga, and you really enjoyed both resorts?
Yes, we did. Yeah. So it was our first time at staying at Saratoga, and I said it to Adam, what made Saratoga was actually the cast members. In our whole stay, they were the best cast members at the resorts that we dealt with, was at Saratoga, hands down. I'll relay the story very quickly. On the first day we got there, So obviously we've not been since 2022. It's, you know, a long time, really itching to get back into the magic. We didn't have the best experience in 22 with cast members, so I was very concerned about that going in. And we opened the doors of Saratoga's check-in area and we had characters off the bat, and they were just absolutely fantastic. And that immediately flushed all my worries away about what had happened in 22. I was like, yes, back to the beginning, how it should be. And then we had really great cast member interactions at Artist Palette. Two of the cast members that were like waiting the tables and that, they were just so good with the kids, and they got a surprise given to us in the rooms. We had they gave us some gifts delivered to the room, made the trip for us. It was such a fantastic moment.
That's so nice to hear. I mean, you like to hear positive things about cast members, and you know, it's nice to hear that they're still coming along, and we're still getting those sort of fantastic cast members like we always have had.
Yeah, and they were brilliant. And I do sit there, and we stayed in all these other places, and they were the best ones we dealt with. You know, the ones that we had everywhere else were still fantastic. No faults at all. But if I'm having to pick the best, Saratoga takes it. My only thing that I would say now that I've stayed at Saratoga is I would only stay at the grandstand, purely because of being the first bus on the stop and the first off. That was the absolute game changer for us. If I was staying on the last point, I probably might have had a slightly different opinion of the result because of that, because that would have frustrated me. But being in the grandstand, first on, first off, can't complain.
Yeah, it is a good location, definitely.
Yeah, we were in quite in the far out back end of the grandstand area, so there's a little bit of a walk to everything. I'd rather have the bus transport than I would and just walk the resort. It's not a big deal.
No, it's a nice resort, and of course nice close proximity to Disney Springs as well, which is what my wife enjoys about it. But yeah, no,
it was good. I can't fault it. Yeah, and then we stayed at the Poly Tower after that for our welcome home stay. And you know, anyone that has opinions of the exterior of that building that haven't stayed in there are valid. If you've stayed in there, you'll forget what the problems are outside the building, because the outside completely outweighs the inside completely outweighs the outside of that building.
Yeah, we're looking forward to going and having a look around it when we go in February, which is, as of record, only 74 days away. So
I am very jealous, Kevin. Very, very jealous. But you need to go and have a look around there and enjoy the resort and just look at it, because you'll be going to the lobby, look at the art, they'll let you in and they'll let you look at the area of it, and you'll see. And then when you look up, you'll see the two viewing platforms for the fireworks. They've got the one on the third floor, one on the fifth floor. If you look at the one on the third floor, that's the one that I proposed to my partner in this year.
Yes, and congratulations. I'm assuming she said yes.
I hope so. Yeah, we've started planning stuff, so I'm pretty sure she has at this point. No, she did. Yeah, that was it. So every time I now look at that building from the outside, looking in, I see the third balcony, like the third view. I know I'm not looking at it. Yeah, that's where I hosted my partner, and it makes it a very cool place for us now.
Yeah, superb. That's great. Must be a great moment.
It was, yeah, and the fact that it was private, it was just us in there while the fireworks were going off. Excellent. So it was a private viewing for the fireworks. It was like having a theme park view room, but not having a theme park view room, because you just went into there, but there was no one there. It was just us.
Yeah, it's because that is just for people staying in the tower, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So usually, for most of the nights we were there, people were sat there watching things, but that night it was literally me, my partner, and my kids. That was it.
You can't beat that, can you?
No. And we tried by because we then had one night in a one-bed villa with a theme park view at the Island Tower while we were there as well, which I'm not going to lie was pretty special. Yeah, I asked the cast members for that one. I kind of said, look, I've just proposed to my partner. I've booked this room as the celebration for that. Is there any way you can give me like the best possible one bed you've got for theme park view within the points range? They said, yeah, we'll try and work something out for you, sir. Give me 20 minutes and I'll come and get you. 20 minutes later, they're like, yeah, we've got you the one that literally sit the third floor viewing platform. So where the third floor I proposed, that's 2 floors. So it's floor 3 and floor 4. And then we were on the 5th floor above that with the view. And it was perfect. I could lay in the bed and see everything. I was laying in the bed and I could see Magic Kingdom from my bed.
Absolutely fantastic.
Wonderful. Best experience. I want it. I want more points now because I want one bed points.
I've Pop Century money and Grand Floridian taste. Yeah, that's
literally it. That's it. We immediately, I said this on the to Adam as well. We walked in the one bed villa. We're like, yeah, we need more points because we want this every time. We're not too much about being theme park view. We just want the one bed villa because it was outstanding.
They are fantastic. Those villas, aren't they? Those one bedrooms.
Yeah,
I've
brilliant.
not obviously I've not been in a tower one bedroom, but we have stayed in one bedrooms at Animal Kingdom Lodge and Saratoga and Old Key West, and they are so Old Key West is just ridiculously big.
I am massive. Yeah, these probably aren't Old Key West big, but they are very big. Like they feel huge.
Yeah, that's the way they get you, don't they? The size of it, and obviously the extra facilities in the kitchen and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, I think
I'd love to do one bedrooms. I think maybe some more points will be in our future, but at the moment we're still doing studios.
I mean, because for you and Deb, it's the two of you. It's a lot easier to use a studio facility, and then we manage with the two kids. No problems at all. Not a single complaint. So if I have to have studio rooms, that's really not a problem. I'm just now, because I've stayed in, that one bed, I'm like, oh yeah, but think for 2 weeks if you're here and you've got that extra space, the kids can sort of run around a bit, you've got that breakout space, and I'm like, oh yeah, it would work really well, wouldn't it? Yeah, it would be nice. Then I'm like, yeah, but I'm on vacation. I shouldn't be worrying about that. Actually, I kind of want that now.
Yeah, we sort of we don't cook, we don't want to cook on holiday and all this sort of thing. But that fridge freezer and having the dishwasher and having the in-room wash facilities to wash your clothes is what Deborah wants.
Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah, my partner Ellie she was a big fan of that as well.
She's going, well, if we had points for a one bedroom, then we could go hand luggage. I'm going, oh yeah, but
now I've got to bring merch back. How am I going to do that?
Yeah. So then I think we'd be getting
how much
a locker.
Joffreys?
Yeah.
How much Joffreys could you bring back in your hand luggage?
Yeah.
Not that much.
Yes. Yeah, I understand. I've got quite a bit. Karen's my caffeine dealer has got quite a bit for me, according to Luke. So.
Yeah, you've got a supply ready. You can't bring them back on hand luggage. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's what we're really looking to up our points in the future. I think.
Yeah.
Maybe another 100 points, so as we would be able to do a one bedroom rather than a studio each time we go.
Yeah, I think we ideally would need 250 to 300 if we wanted a one bed for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
ideally. Which I mean, it's going to happen. We know it. It's just a case of when it's going to happen.
Yeah. I just have to work out like if the dollar was a little bit better than it is at the moment. I might take the jump, but we'll have to see what happens in the future, dollar wise.
Yeah, and that's it. It's trying to time those things and keep an eye on it. And it was like we had this conversation obviously with maintenance when we all came up to pay our maintenance this year and early this year, didn't we?
Yeah.
And I remember I prepaid mine in like the December, or like literally as it came out, the statement came out, I paid it. And it was sitting at like 137 or something like that. It was hitting quite high. I remember a couple of you guys sort of held off a little bit and it banged out again.
Yeah.
It sort of dropped back down into the 20s. As I was like, I knew it.
Well, with my Revolut, I get £1,000 a month I can change up. Last calendar month, I changed 1,000 up at 134, and it's down. Now it's down to 130 again. So I held off. So I've missed this window for this month, so I'm now into next month. I've got to change it next month and the month after, so I can have enough money to take with me. It is what it is, isn't it? At the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I sit here and joke saying, "Oh, I knew it was all like." You don't know. It is just potluck, really. You don't know what's going to happen. The way things are, you can literally sneeze and the market gives out. And it can change.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes. But at the end of the day, I'm going one way or the other. So if it costs me. If it costs me a little bit extra, it costs me a little bit extra, doesn't
it? Exactly. You're not going to be like, oh, well, I can't buy all this stuff because I didn't get as good a dollar rate as I'd like. You're still going to buy it. And you see something you like, you're still going to buy it.
Yeah, we certainly are. We were going to talk about price of DVC points tonight. And you went and did a meeting, didn't you? The DVC members update meeting, I think they called it.
Yes, it's called the members. It's called the members extra meeting that they called it. So what that was essentially it was a meeting. I mean, let's call the spade a spade to start with. The point of the meeting is to try and sell you more points. That's the point of it, because obviously that's the whole purpose of what they're trying to do. But the point of it is to also show you where you may, if you have recently bought or if you are a DVC member, you don't necessarily know what you can do with your points. So, for example, things like travel by Disney, cruise line, conversion, all those sorts of things. The meeting goes in to talk about those quite a lot and what extras your points can actually do apart from just staying at Walt Disney World, Disneyland, or Vero or Hilton Head or Aulani Resorts. So that's kind of the purpose of the meeting. And then as the meeting progresses through, then they start to give you the spiel of why you should have more points, and having more points can give you more of these extras and all of these sorts of things.
Yeah, and they talk about the actual discounts at the time.
Yes, they gave us a pretty good input on costings and incentives to try and keep us through, to try and get you to sign up or book an appointment with them to talk through the options.
Yeah, because they call them incentives, but of course, really, call a spade a spade. It's a discount.
Yeah. It is, yeah. It's a discount that they're offering you to try and get you to buy or sign into more points, because then they can sell their points, and that's their job to do. That's the point of the rep, is to sell the points.
And some of those incentives were quite large at the time, weren't they?
So I remember coming out of that meeting and sending a voice note to you, Luke, and Adam immediately with these incentives, because what they did is they came out and said these are what they called once in a lifetime incentives. Those were the words that we used, once in a lifetime incentives. Now we all know that's probably not true. So what they came out with was, so they based everything on if you were to purchase 200 points. So 200 additional points. That's what they set the baseline to. And they started with the lowest discount. So the result, they gave you the lowest discount, and then they start to trickle all the way down, and the number increased slightly more and more and more and more until they got to the final ones, which gave you the bigger discounts. So the ones they showed 5. I think it was 5. Yes, it was 5. Yes, it was. So it was Polynesian, which is on south of the Island Tower. It was the Disneyland Hotel in California. It was Aulani. It was Riviera, and it was the cabins at Fort Wilderness. They were the 5 that they brought on to show, to sell. So the discounts ranged, and I'll go down the list as they announced them in cost, so you understand what we're 200. If you purchased 200 points for our Polynesian, it was $2,250 discount. Not huge, but still a reasonable amount. If you went for the Disneyland Hotel at 200 points, it was £3,500 discount, which I thought was, again, dollars, sorry, $3,500. All this was done in dollars, yeah. Which I thought was pretty good. I was like, okay, yeah, not bad. The Disneyland Hotel is not super favorable because of its tax you have to pay every time you visit. You have to pay the tourist tax, but not bad. And then we got to Aulani. Sorry, no, I tell a lie. Sorry, I got that wrong. It was Riviera was next. Riviera had a discount of $7,500 for 200 points at Riviera, which I was sat there going like, oh, that's interesting. That's pricked my ears up a little bit. I could be interested in a Riviera discount. That's a resort I could look at doing. Then we jumped to Aulani, and Aulani, I thought got real mad real quick. That went to $8,750 discount for Aulani if you were 200 points at Aulani. So I don't know about you, Kev, but those 4 are that's a pretty big number.
Yeah, that is.
But we're not done yet. We've still got one more, which is Kev's favorite, which is the static caravans at Fort Wilderness. Now, these are new. These have been out, what, just over a year now they've been on launch?
Yeah.
We'd say, right? If you were to take 200 points now, you would get a total discount of $10,750. How much? $10,750 was the discount rate that they provided in that number. And I kid you not, a lot of people's ears definitely pricked up at that one.
Yeah, that was, yeah. That's a lot.
Just wild. Considering it's their newest product on launch of the 5 that were in there, that is crazy.
It is. And the dues there are $14. What did we say? $14. No, the dues there are $11.88.
$11. So you're paying $2,200 a year in points at 200 points.
Yeah.
To stay in a static caravan.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And don't forget, you've also got to get yourself a golf cart,
which you'll have to bring yourself because you can't book them quick enough, from what I hear. So you've got to hire a golf cart from somewhere to stay on, unless you're a walk for miles. So if you don't have the golf cart, you're going to have to walk for miles to stay in a caravan. No wonder it's at that rate of discount. But I think what this shows to me is that they've realized that these aren't going to sell very quickly. And I think they're trying to sell as much inventory as they can now at the cheapest rate they can and maybe take a bit of a hit on them, because Lakeshore Lodge around the corner, that's when as we're all speculating, they'll just swallow into each other and it'll be one contract for all of it.
Yeah, I think that's what they'll probably do with them, is bunch them in with that Lakeside Lodge. That was an incredible offer. I mean,
was.
The chat was amazing, wasn't it, afterwards? How much? I mean,
I take the funniest thing I took from this, right? All the people that went were like veteran DVC owners. There was no one really new. Everyone that went in there knew the product. They knew the ins and outs. They knew everything. The only reason they were there is to get a free bag. Let's be honest. We were all there because you get a free bag if you attended. But I'll never forget, there was one woman that come in, and I reckon she was late 80s, I think. And you could tell she was a veteran DVC owner. She probably, like Luke's grandparent, very much been there from the beginning type. And she walked in and they said this, and she turned, she said, even I might buy that. Just blurted it out in the meeting. Even I might buy that. But before that, she was like this very stern looking woman, in the sense of like, there was no BS about her. If you took her the wrong way, in the sense of if the salesperson said something that she thought was wrong or didn't like, she was calling it out there and did not care. And the fact that she turned and said that, I was like, yeah, that's a pretty big offer. I've never seen an incentive that high before.
I always thought these were a strange product. The static caravans, I can't get my head around them. I still can't. And
No.
I've had a couple of years now to sort of sink in. Now, the campsites, I love that. I think it's great, but to me, it's not something you can mix with a DVC product. Wilderness Lodge, fantastic. I mean, I'm staying there this time for 3 nights. Yeah, fantastic. I'd love to own at Copper Creek. Don't get me wrong, that would be what would be on my wish list. No two ways about it. But the a static caravan or those lodges, they don't float my boat. I think maybe they would be more interesting if they had washing machines in. The fact they didn't put a washing machine in there seems mad to me.
And the layout of them is a bit strange. Like the one that gets me, it's really petty, I suppose. But I if I'm calling it, is where you've got obviously where the Murphy bed comes down and you've got the sofa there, and obviously it converts into the Murphy bed. That's where your living room TV is, on the wall next to it. So you're sat on the sofa, you're sat looking at a wall, and then it's like, but your TV's to the right of you, so you have to then look completely to the right to watch the TV, and it doesn't like mount out and stretch or anything. It's just coming in the wall, so it doesn't really work. Now I get that you've got the Murphy bed to come down there, so people are going to sleep in there, and you've got the hallway points, so you can't put the TV there, but by putting it on the wall there didn't really make sense to me, and still doesn't. And then, like you say, it's meant to be essentially like a 1-bed villa type scenario, isn't it? But there's no washing facilities.
Yeah, and you've got the bunk beds in with a main room, which
yes,
it's a bit strange. But yeah. I don't think we're ever going to get our heads around that. So.
No. Nor are they going to go away anytime soon either. So, we have to accept they're here. But the fact that they're discounting them that heavily already says to me that there's either a plan to get rid of early inventory ready to merge, or, as we predicted, they haven't sold very well. No one wants them. When you've got things like Riviera on stock still, the Poly's back on market with new points. So if you were to charge the same price per point in comparison at full rate, why would you buy it there when you could buy it at the Poly?
This is what's strange, is you've got 5 live resorts selling at the moment.
Yeah.
And one of those resorts is Alani, which we discussed before we started recording. First went on sale on the 1st of July. Wait for it, people. 2010.
15 years, still selling. 15 years.
15 years. I mean, that's incredible. It's still selling. It started off, I looked it up, it was $120 when it first came on the market, and it's now selling without any incentives at $235, the same as the other 4 resort. Now, obviously, there is an incentive at the moment, but it's not like the incentives when you looked at your trip. It's now they're doing an incentive on 100 points of, I think Lani's 2 or 3. Actually, closing costs. There is no incentive by the looks of it on Alani.
So I'm wondering if those incentives were only offered to DVC members at those extras meetings. I'm wondering if that was the case, because when I looked on the website afterwards, they didn't match.
They weren't there, yeah. So, I mean, there are incentives on some other DVC resorts at the moment, but I can't see one actually for Alani at the moment as I look at it.
Yeah.
Those incentives were incredible.
That was wild. Even I was sat there going, like, how can I manage to get? But the thing is, I'd have just picked the poly, so I'd have picked the worst incentive of them all. Of all 100 incentivized, I'd have just gone back to the poly, which also is a testament to me to show that which one of those 5 that are current live is going to sell first. Poly's
Yeah.
going to the one that will go quick.
Yeah, it's the smallest. It's fairly smallish number of rooms, isn't it?
Yeah,
and
it's not a
obviously
lot.
got a fantastic location. It's on the monorail. They really can't fit another resort in on the monorail.
No.
So it's going to be one of your only choices to get in on the monorail.
Yeah, I think so. And it was such a good resort to stay at. When you look at the roster, I mean, for me, it's a night and day. I don't think any of them compare in the eyes of what you get. You know, the Riviera is the second closest with the Skyliner access and all that. It's the best. Of the 5, it's the second best in the roster. But, you know, Poly will go. I mean, Riviera's what, 6 years old now? 2019 that went out. So that's 6 years old now.
But it's the
Poly's-
restrictions that hurts Riviera.
Yeah, it's the resale, you know, if you sell it and you buy a second, you're only locked to that one particular resort. So that's where it gets hurt. So it's just, yeah, having 5 in inventory that they've not sold out on yet. A says people aren't in a position to buy them at the moment, which is fair, but also what you've got is just either there's too much of it, like Alani, where they've got really, really high inventory numbers that you'll just never shift, or the quality of the product isn't what people want, i.e. the cabins.
I think the cabins is only a small number. It's 300 and some cabins, isn't it? I think something like that. It's not massive.
Yeah, it's not a lot. No.
And I mean, they're offering an incentive here as a new buyer. If you buy 100 points, they'll offer you $1,100 off. So that's the incentive at the moment. That's the only one that's got an incentive that I can find advertised on the DVC site. So, but like you say, it's different when you go to a meeting.
I think they definitely incentivize in the sense that if you're buying an add-on product, they were looking to incentivize you heavily to get you to take an add-on.
Interesting that those incentives were so big and they were pushing so hard because they were struggling. But you've also got this mammoth resort coming along, and we talked about this on the DisLoad. And if you haven't listened to the DisLoad, go back and listen to it. I think it was last month we talked about it. And the DVC resort is coming up big league. It's going to be the second biggest DVC resort in rooms along. I think only Saratoga is bigger, or is it?
Yeah. Saratoga is the biggest, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's going to be a big old resort. So they've got to sell that out as well. And that's coming along, you know, even if it takes another 2-3 years to build, are they going to get rid of these 5 resorts before that? Because that's what they really need to do. They need to. Alani won't be sold out, obviously. I don't think I'll ever live to see that sold out. The other 4 definitely need to, 3 of those 4 they need to sell out. California, not an issue because that's California. Alani's Alani. But the other 3, they really do need to sell out, because if they don't, what they're going to do, try and sell Riviera and the Lakeshore Lodge at the same time?
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do that. Like you say, I think Poly will probably be gone by the time that Lakeshore or Lakeside, whichever one it's called at this point.
Yeah,
I'd never know. But I think Poly will be gone by that point. I think that would have sold out.
Yeah,
I do. I think that we. I don't know how well Riviera has sold as a total. I could see Riviera being near its end in sale by that point. I don't know if it will, but I would say it couldn't be far off. I don't see the cabins being sold. I just don't see it.
No,
I think they'll go the leg of Alani, or until, as we've said, they swallow it into the new resort.
I think they will swallow it into new resort. They've already got the restrictions, and I'm positive this new resort will have the restrictions as well. Because if you were to not put that resort with restrictions on, you're almost shooting Riviera in the foot. Because why would you buy it? Yeah,
because the cabins have got the restrictions, haven't they?
The cabins already have restrictions, so you can't really roll it into a resort without the restrictions. And plus, you can't open a resort 3 times the size of Riviera without restrictions.
Yeah, and that to me sells another point against the cabins why they won't sell, because not only have you got really high maintenance off the bat, it's got this resale restriction, so its value for resale isn't going to hold up. And also, we don't know, as it currently stands, we don't know how these are going to look, how they're going to manage or survive or maintained. We have no idea, because they're not buildings, are they? They're like static caravan, literally static caravans, pardon the pun a bit. They're the same material composites, it's all that. How long is that going to survive in Florida in the heat? You have no idea.
Yeah, they'd just be replaced. That's why I wonder why the maintenance was a little bit higher because they're looking at a 15 to 20 year lifespan. Roofs in Florida, you're only getting a 10 to 15 year lifespan with insurance. The insurance won't cover your roof if it's older than 15 years old. Some insurance companies won't cover it over 10. So obviously they've got to be insured, and then, they're not up to the building regs of a building or a hotel. So obviously they're going to be earlier to be replaced. So there's more costs involved there. I know you can just wheel them in and almost plop them down day of like you do with static. They're reusable, but it's difficult, isn't it? I move is probably something they won't repeat.
I don't think so. I don't think they can. The front wilderness lent itself to something like that. So I get the idea of what they were trying to go for here, but it hasn't worked. I don't think it's worked. I also don't think there is any resorts on site anywhere else that would allow for something like this to even be put in. I just don't. I don't see it.
And they've lost a lot of business from the old cabins because they replaced cabins and they're on the same footprint. And those cabins were full sale through the general booking site, not DVC, normal rooms. And they had a big following. They were very difficult to get a hold of. People really wanted them. But those sort of people, I think Disney thought they would push them to be DVC members, and that's not happened. That's not come to fruition. I don't think that the people that did book those rooms maybe for the last 15, 20 years have now gone, okay, so we'll buy DVC. If they've not bought DVC yet, I don't think they're going to buy DVC. So I think they've lost those bookings. What's happened to those people, whether they've gone off site and started to stay somewhere off site that offers a similar product or not, I don't know. Whether they're staying now in general hotels, but that was, I think, the thinking behind doing the caravans like that, and because DVC is now paying for it rather than Disney as a company.
And the interesting point there, like you say, is, and I hadn't considered that, is actually they have probably pushed that narrative, or these bookings were so sought after. I put in these as DVC, people would take them, and again, that hasn't really materialized to anything, has it? And that's why that's why they were so heavily discounted. And honestly, I just couldn't believe it. 10 grand off 200 points is a substantial amount to be throwing into that mix. And then they also, I forgot to mention, they backdated your point to 2024 points as well. So they gave you the points for the that year. So it'll be a 2025, like that year's use year, with zero maintenance. You didn't pay maintenance on it either. They backdated your maintenance pay.
That's quite surprising.
Yeah.
They waived the maintenance on it.
They were going to waive maintenance.
I know a couple of people I've interviewed in the past said, they gifted us last year's points. And then I straight away to him, I said, okay, did you pay maintenance fees on them? Oh, yeah, we are paying maintenance fees, and they're giving you nothing because they've lost those maintenance fees because they haven't sold those points. Now they're giving you those points. If you pay the maintenance fees, who's won there?
They have. They were going to give you, they were going to backdate and waiver maintenance fees for the year. So it was very incentivized to the point that a lot of us were like, oh, well, could be tempted. Because then if you add that maintenance cost, so say 200 points, it's 2,200 again.
Yeah, 2,200. That's another 2,200 on top of the 10,000.
Yeah. It was big discounts, really big discounts.
Incredible, wasn't it? That's an incredible sum. At the moment they're offering like $1,100 on 100 points.
Like I said, that's where I definitely think because you can only go to this meeting if you're a DVC member, regardless of its direct or second-hand purchase. You can go to if you're a DVC member. So that says to me that we're incentivizing existing members who know the product, who know the ins and outs, who understand the value they're getting out of it. Let's incentivize them to buy it at a slightly cheaper rate, still make money on it because they're going to, and waiver a maintenance fee. But we've got them now on a new contract and we've made money off of that. So that definitely points to me that this was for a way to incentivize existing members to add on to their contracts.
200-point add-ons, fairly big, isn't it?
That's a big add-on. Yeah. Most people, I mean, I'd happily add on 200 points. So I'd happily do it.
Would you want the $2,200 a year extra for maintenance?
Not on the cabins, I wouldn't. No. If I were to do an update, it would be I would have just taken the discount on the poly and then taken the year's maintenance cost. That's what I would have done. Because for me, I am now a loyalist to the poly. I don't think I'd have points anywhere else. That's what I am. For me, and that was kind of why I was sort of like looking at these incentives going, they're really, really good, but they're not the results I want. So for me, this is no good. $2,000 off of a poly contract is not enough for me to go, yes, I'll buy it. 4 if you take the maintenance cost for 200 points out of the mix. It still isn't enough for me to sit and go, yeah, I'm going to pay you 200 points worth of direct cost. I could still get 200 points on second hand.
Yeah, I was going to say, sort of the
For
resale
less.
market's at about 165 now.
Yeah, so I could easily, it's still substantial to buy a second-hand contract. And, you know, I had no issues bar one time in the whole 2 weeks I was out there where I was told I can't have something because I'm not a direct member. Not once. Well, I'd say that apart from one time, and that was to try and get into the Magic Kingdom Lounge, which was always going to be a hit and hope. There was no way I was going to get it, but if I don't ask, I don't get. You know, I got into the Epcot Lounge and met characters on the Epcot Lounge on a members extra without any purchase of that, because the response I got was, oh, well, you're an international member, you're not to know about this and you can't purchase this, therefore we'll let you in. So I did that. No issues using DVC discount at any point whatsoever. No one questioned me. They looked at my Disney Experience app with my DVC thing and that was it. Never got challenged. So why would I buy a direct contract with that small incentive but I'm still getting the things out in the parks?
Yeah, well, yeah, you wouldn't, would you?
You're not supposed to get those things. You're not. So you're supposed to be not allowed to have them. And that's the whole reason to rationale you buying the direct is to get those benefits. But the benefits don't weigh up the cost to me still. You know, the only logic you have to buying a direct is the full 50 years, which most of these contracts now you don't get.
There isn't
the only
anything.
The only thing that's got a full whack of 49 years is the cabins.
Yeah, no, you're all looking at about 45 years, aren't you?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, you're dead right. You're dead right like that. And really, all you need is a Karen. Really, you just need a Karen or a Scott or a Kurt, I suppose, or somebody who is a member.
Or a Luke.
Yeah, or a Luke, or an Adam. Yeah, that's all we need.
But it was the fact, like, as you know, Kev, I'm very much of the belief if I don't ask, I don't get. And if they say no, it's fine. I'm not doing any harm. Yeah, exactly. But at no point, because I'd sort of been given the tip off beforehand, showed them your My Disney Experience app profile credential, not your Apple Wallet credential.
All right.
Because they're starting to reject Apple Wallet credentials because they're too easily printable.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was told by DVC members. They don't necessarily like the Apple Watch wallet anymore because people can just screenshot it and print it, and it has a QR code on it. Whereas the My Disney Experience app doesn't have anything. It just has your reference number, and you need to be logged in to get to that stage. So I was just showing that, and no one. That doesn't tell you anything. It just tells you you're a DVC member with your membership number. It doesn't say yes or no. It doesn't tell you anything else. It doesn't show it. So from a cast member's perspective in the retail area, you show them that. As far as they can tell, you're just a fully fledged DVC member.
Interesting.
Yeah. So when you go in 75 days, use the My Disney Experience app. Don't use your wallet.
Yes.
Don't use your Apple Wallet. Use your My Disney Experience app. It works.
Yeah. I use my Karen. That's what I use.
Yeah. Well, you honestly, unless you're to get into the lounges, yes. But if you want to just get your discounts and stuff, just use your My Disney Experience app. It will cover it.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not trained.
I mean, I think, like I said,
the resale market is still mostly people are hybrids. So most people have got the 150 and then they buy everything else on the resale market.
Yeah.
So
they are.
And Disney's fairly happy with that. They've got the 150 points out here, and then if they can try to get you to add on, they will. But yeah, I think that's the majority of people that I know are either hybrid members or just full DVC direct members.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I'm secondhand through and through.
I've only got resale, and I don't intend on buying direct. For me, at my age and at the cost, I just can't justify it.
Yeah, you still get to stay at the resort. You get to stay at your home resort. You still get access to the rooms in majority of the resorts still, apart from, I'm not sure if your contract can book your Riviera
contract.
Or not.
Yeah, I can book ongoing because I'm grandfathered in because I bought them before the new restriction came in.
Okay, great. So you can do all of that. So that's the only reason you buy is to stay at the resorts. The benefits are just something that Disney give you as a perk. They can take them away at any point. All that stuff can go away. For me, I try for those things, and if I get a no, I get a no. But I got one no in the whole 2 weeks of staying there. I even got into it was welcome home weeks while we were there. And obviously, every set days they were giving out free ice creams and stuff like that. Clearly states for direct members only. Never questioned, not once. Went into the DVC building in Saratoga, and they have set up a whole section. They turned into an ice cream sundae bar where you could pick up tubs of ice cream, Mickey premium bars, all this sort of stuff. And then they had like a topping section and all this sort of stuff. Let me in. Damn my magic band. Clearly tells them on there that I'm not a direct member. They still let me in. So my incentive to buy a direct isn't there.
No, I think that the resale market is propping it up, and they they're not really too worried. I mean, certainly staff members. I don't know how much Disney's paying them, but I don't think it's enough for them to care.
I don't think it's when you've got like, but if it's like direct DVC employees, like the sales reps and the ones working in the lounges and stuff, yeah, probably a bit more willing to be difficult or adhere to what's been told. But for the general cast member in, say, the Emporium, who's got thousands of customers just running through, they don't want that argument. Imagine if I had just kicked off, and I would. I'm not saying I would, but there will be people out there that you've challenged and said, no, you're not a direct member, you don't get this perk. People would argue with you. You haven't got time for that.
No, we don't need that sort of hassle, do you?
No, you don't. You don't need that, and they're just not. They're just going to accept it for the sake of the discount,
Yeah, so that's really interesting that you didn't get challenged all the time you were there. I found that it's hit and miss when I've been there in the last couple of years, but I've not really bothered one way or the other with it, really. If they ask me on DVC, I'll say yes, and that's basically the only time I do, because I'm normally with somebody else who's DVC anyway, who knows I'm a resale member, so fairly happy to extend their discount. So yeah, we go like that.
Yeah, and I think we saved like $350 with discount this year. Did quite well. But it was just for me. It was just I walked up with confidence and went, I'm a member.
Yeah,
that was it. Walk up with not just that little bit of confidence. Say I am a DVC member. Here is my number, and they looked at it, and that was all they ever did. It was only those that scanned your magic band would they be able to tell if you were a non-direct member.
Interested. Okay. Well, I think obviously we were a bit surprised with the discounts on that meeting, and we're going to keep our eyes out, and maybe when I go in February, if I can get into a meeting, we'll see what they're offering then.
I'm sure if you ask to, they'll get you in. They'll get you in there quick enough. They got me in like the same day, essentially.
I had to walk around the cabins when they were new, and you just knew, and I went to the cast member when I was there and said to them, is there any chance? And they got somebody straight over. Oh, he's not a sales rep. He can only show you around it. I thought, that's all I want. I did a little recording of the a walk around the cabin.
Yeah.
and that was that sort of thing. But it didn't pressurize me into coming into a sales meeting or anything like that. But I would like to go and see the members meeting. But I always seem to be too busy when I'm there. That's my problem. But then what we're all like, isn't it?
Yeah, it was only because we had like a spare half a day. Not even, it was like an hour, and the kids were just like wanted to go to the pool. So I was like, yeah, booking for them. We'll make that an hour for the pool time. You can do that, and I'll come find you when I'm done with the free bag. We did all of this in the chase of a bag that I haven't seen since we got home. I'm guessing it's buried away somewhere. So, ain't that important. But at the time, you get sucked into, oh, well, I do want it, and I am a DVC member. And in fairness, for the whole 2 weeks we were there, I used it. So I've got use out of it.
Was this the Chip and Dale bag?
No, it's the one with Mickey and Minnie holding the balloons.
Oh, yeah. I know they were doing a Chip and Dale bag, and a few people I know were after that in a big way, but there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, it was great speaking to you this week, and it was nice to talk about the incentives and how much of an incentive there is out there at times just to sell products. And I think it will be interesting when that new resort comes online to see what they do with the others.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out. But it was a pleasure to come back on, Kevin, show you the experience of the discount that nearly threw me out of my chair.
Yeah, I think the title of the show might be Alf Much.
How much?
Right. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for listening. And hopefully, so this is going to be the December episode. So that's 2025 done. Wow.
Crazy how quick that year's gone.
So if go over and listen to Devonshire Diz, the podcast where Adam done his trip report with the other Adam. That's why we call this Adam AC.
Yeah.
Go and listen to the DisLoad. I'm sure we've got quite a bit of news on there this month coming up. So give that a listen, and we'll speak to you in the new year. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please leave us a review on your podcasting app of choice and subscribe. You can contact the show at bgt.dvc@gmail.com. That's all lowercase. At Twitter and Instagram, we are BGTDVC, again, all lowercase. On Facebook, we are Brits Guide to Disney Vacation Club. If you're looking to buy resale DVC points or rent DVC points out, contact B Thaxton at shopdvc.com. This has been a Isle of Wight audio production.
This podcast is part of the After Dark